All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something pretty fascinating. It's a YouTube transcript called The Weight of the Woods. And honestly, it completely lives up to that name. This isn't just some spooky story. It's almost like a masterclass in using subtle details, sensory stuff, to build up this intense psychological terror. So the basic idea is pretty straightforward. There's this guy, Arthur. He wants total solitude, gets it through an inherited cabin way out, really remote. The transcript says the nearest town felt like another planet, super isolated. And his goal, simple, really, find space, find silence. He wants, and this is a quote, the oppressive green blanket of the forest to smother the city noise and the louder clamor in his own head. Sounds kind of nice, actually, doesn't it? Peaceful. But yeah, the story flips that script really fast. Peaceful retreat becomes something else, something way more sinister. So we're going to unpack how it does that. Look at the specific ways it uses narrative to turn solitude into a threat.
Exactly. And this transcript, it's a really compelling look at the architecture of fear, you could say, how it builds things up. You get these small, unsettling things one after another, and they just systematically break down his sense of safety. It's not just physical isolation, it's mental, too, that feeling. It sticks with you long after, he physically escapes or tries to. What's really fascinating, I think, is how those familiar things, the comforting sounds of nature, they become oppressive and then, downright menacing as he figures out what that solitude really means.
What grabbed me right away was how quickly it pulls the rug out that first night. He's expecting, I don't know, rustic charm, but the idyllic just turned off almost immediately. And it's not just like the normal creaks and groans of an old house settling in. No, he hears sounds that, quote, shouldn't be there. Things like a branch snapping, but like too sharply right outside the window, or this low rustling noise that seems to follow him when he moves around the cabin, kitchen to bedroom, that kind of thing. And then suddenly this deep silence that feels, well, the script says, like a physical weight. It's such a fast pivot, isn't it? From comfort to just dread. What makes those little sounds so effective, do you think?
Well, that instant shift, using sounds that are just slightly wrong, that's a classic technique. It's subjective horror. The story deliberately makes Arthur's perception unreliable, or seem unreliable at first. So we're not just told he's scared. We sort of experience his confusion, his unraveling. We start questioning things with him, that rustling that seems to follow him, the silence that feels heavy. These cues, they make the threat really ambiguous. Is it real? Is it in his head? That's much more powerful, I think, than just showing you a monster right away, because you can't just brush it off rationally. By the second night, the feeling's back stronger.
Yeah.
He's already trying to rationalize it. Animals, wind, maybe just his overstimulated city imagination playing tricks. But reading it, we already suspect it's more. The story sets that up perfectly.
Yeah, you feel it building. And then, okay, as if that creepy, unseen vibe wasn't enough, the story throws in the sound. A sound that just shifts everything. From that abstract worry to something way more concrete, but still totally inexplicable. The chilling scraping sound. It describes it really specifically. Low down near the foundation.
Yeah.
Like something heavy being dragged slowly through the dirt circling the cabin. And it even gives you the rhythm. Scrapey drag, scrapey drag. Ugh. What is it about that sound? How does that specific detail just crank up the fear level so much?
That's where the story uses auditory disorientation really effectively, and environmental horror. See, the scraping isn't just a random noise. It's given, weight, purpose, intent even. It's not a quick jump scare sound. It's methodical. It's circling the cabin.
Yeah.
It pauses near the front door deliberately before it starts again. That changes Arthur's fear from this internal, maybe imagined dread to a very real physical external threat, something that's actually interacting with his space. And the fact that he can't see anything, he looks out and it's just this solid, impenetrable black wall of woods.
Yeah.
That makes it sound even more terrifying, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because your mind just fills in the gaps with the worst possible things. It's the horror of what you can't see, but you can hear. And, like Arthur does, that this had weight behind it. It wasn't small.
Okay, so he's dealing with this scraping, this unseen thing circling, and then it shifts again. The sensory attack just ramps up, the scraping stops, but then comes this absolute silence. And like you said, not just quiet, but like a held breath, really unnatural. Then the air gets colder, even near the fire. And this smell, musky and damp, like decaying leaves mixed with raw earth. It's like the woods themselves are just pressing in, and then the thumps start. A soft thump on the back wall, then another and another. Not loud, it says, but heavy, impactful. That repeated thump, 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 thump.
Mm.
What's going on there? How do all those things, the silence, the cold, the smell, the thumps work together? What are they doing to him?
That whole sequence, it's a brilliant use of sensory deprivation followed immediately by sensory overload. The sudden, unnatural quiet after the scraping. That's classic horror stuff. It puts you on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
Then you introduce the cold. And that smell, that very specific, unpleasant smell, it makes the unseen threat feel, well, real,
Yeah.
tangible. Almost like you could reach out and touch it even though you can't see it. It's not just a sound anymore. It's an atmosphere, a hostile one. And those thumps. Yeah, okay, that's the pivot point. That's the story shifting from maybe psychological horror to definitely a physical threat. It's not just a creepy noise now. It's something deliberate, something intelligent maybe, testing the structure, learning its boundaries, as the transcript puts it. And that's when Arthur has that awful realization. This wasn't an animal. This wasn't the wind. This was deliberate. He knew he had to get out right then. The horror becomes undeniable.
And you feel that shift in him, that absolute clarity born of terror. And he makes a break for it. His hands are shaking so hard they jingled his keys. That detail. A tiny sound that feels deafening in the silence. Wow. He creeps towards the front door, feels the woods just watching. Silent witnesses. And that awful smell is stronger here. Near the door, he's fumbling with the deadbolt, the metal cold under his clammy fingers. And right then, the scraping sound returned. Faster this time, right by the door. It was waiting, that speed, that timing. This isn't just some random monster, is it? It feels like it knows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the narrative there is really emphasizing the intelligence, the
Yeah.
predatory nature of whatever this is. The scraping coming back faster, right at the door. That changes it. It's not just a general threat anymore. It's actively, consciously blocking his escape. So he bursts out, slams the door, and the night air hits him, described as like a physical shock, cold, thick with the smell, and the chase is on. But the way it's described is so unsettling. It's not footsteps exactly, more like the sound of the absence of footsteps. What does that even mean?
Oh.
But it sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
A rapid rustling glides through the dead leaves and pine needles, and it's fast, faster than he could run, and it's gaining. Then there's that new sound, this low, guttural murmur like pebbles rattling in a deep, damp throat. Not language, the transcript insists, but it felt like communication, a promise, a threat. This whole chase. It's like some awful game.
Yeah. Oh, man. So his lungs are burning, he's stumbling, but fear just keeps him going. He finally crashes out of the trees onto this rough gravel track where his car is parked, sees it as a dark, reassuring shape, his escape pod. But the rustling, the murmuring, it's right there at the edge of the woods, just yards away, so close, he can feel its presence, like a chilling pressure in the air, and that raw earth smell suddenly overwhelming. He's fumbling with the lock, fumbling with the key in the ignition, hands shaking like crazy. And, of course, classic horror moment. The engine sputters. It coughs. Refuses to catch.
Always.
Right. But then it gets physical. A thick, heavy thud hit the back of the car. Then another and another, faster now, like something massive was hitting it with repetitive, brutal force. That thump, thump, thump again, but violent this time. The rear window spider-waved. A crack appeared in the windshield. Finally, the engine catches, roars to life. He slams it into reverse, spins the tires, jams it into drive, and just floors it. This really takes it from unseen horror to, like, undeniable physical proof, right? Even though we still don't see the thing.
Exactly. That moment, it's the narrative fully committing to the physical manifestation of the threat, even without a visual reveal. It's the payoff, in a way, for all that slow buildup. The car, his sanctuary, his escape route, isn't just being threatened, it's being physically attacked.
Yeah.
The shattered window, the dents, that's concrete evidence. Undeniable proof that this thing exists and it has power. It forces Arthur and us, the audience, to accept that this wasn't just in his head. No way. And the story doesn't let him off the hook there. As he speeds onto the main road, not daring to look back, he can still hear it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's not chasing him on the road itself. It's moving through the woods parallel to him. That rustling glide sound is fainter, sure, but he can still hear it over the engine. It's described as weaving through the trees, sometimes closer, sometimes further, like it was playing a game or just observing, keeping pace effortlessly.
Creepy. I mean, that's where it gets into the long-term psychological stuff, right?
Yeah.
The real weight of the woods. He's driving, supposedly escaping, but his paranoia is just skyrocketing. The car's lights flicker. The radio goes to static, then just dies. The woods flying past on either side, they feel alive watching. Shadows seem to stretch and writhe at the edge of his headlights. He just knows with absolute certainty that it hadn't stopped. It was still there, keeping pace. This isn't just about escaping anymore. It's like It scarred him already.
Precisely. That final part of the chase, it really underscores the inescapable quality of this kind of horror, the
Yeah.
psychological aspect. Even though he's physically getting away, the threat hasn't vanished. It's just changed shape, maybe the flickering lights, the dead radio. Those are classic tropes of an unreliable environment. Making his safe space, the car, feel compromised and secure.
Right.
The entity isn't just chasing him now, it's watching him. It's toying with him, which is, frankly, a much more terrifying display of power than just a straightforward pursuit. It really sets up the lasting trauma.
So Arthur drives, it says, what felt like hours, though it was probably only 20 minutes, until he finally sees town lights, that first glow. As he gets closer, the horrible feeling starts to lift. The sounds fade, the air warms up, that awful smell goes away. He pulls into the first gas station he sees. Those bright fluorescent lights feel harsh and comforting all at once. He kills the engine, and the sudden silence is deafening. Total contrast. He forces himself to look in the rearview mirror, sees nothing but the dark, empty road. But then, the car. The physical proof is still there. The back is dented, the rear window shattered. And there's this large, damp smudge on the trunk, the color of dark earth. He never went back to the cabin, ever. People tried to explain it away, bears, coyotes, maybe stress-induced hallucination. But he knew. He knew they were wrong.
And that physical evidence, that's so important. It validates his terror for us, the audience. It cements the reality of the threat, even though its form remains unknown, which is arguably scarier. But the real power of this story, I think, is in how it portrays the lingering horror, the aftermath. It ends with Arthur's ongoing torment. He's back in the city, but sometimes late at night, when the city is quiet, he feels the weight of the woods on him. He hears that faint, low murmur on the wind. And sometimes, just sometimes outside his window, no matter where he is, he thinks he hears a soft, deliberate scrape drag. It's still out there, still waiting, still following. And the distance between them feels shorter every time.
Wow. That ending is...
Yeah.
Chilling is the right word. It's not really about the physical escape at all. It's entirely about the psychological scar, that inexplicable terror just embedding itself in him.
If you look at the bigger picture, the weight of the woods is just masterful psychological horror. It demonstrates how encountering something truly fundamentally unknown can just permanently warp your sense of safety. The physical escape becomes almost secondary to the ongoing psychological struggle. And the narrative does such a good job of leaving you, the listener, with that same unsettled feeling Arthur has. It blurs the lines. Reality. Dread. Where does one end and the other begin? Because you think, if it could happen to him.
So yeah, what does this mean for you listening? It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? About those moments when something unseen feels just a bit too close. Or when you hear a noise late at night. Is it just your imagination? This deep dive, it really hammers home how fragile our sense of security can be, how thin that veneer over the inexplicable really is.
And it leaves us with a pretty important question, I think. In a world where we desperately want answers, explanations for everything, what happens when the most terrifying truths are the ones that just completely defy reason, the ones that just linger, right there at the edge of your perception, always feeling like they're shortening the distance?